I know I've said this a few times in the past, but just in case it wasn't already abundantly clear, I think Enshrouded is a fantastic game. In fact, I'm pretty confident in saying this is easily one of my favorite survival games in recent years, if not of all time. I genuinely like it that much. It's a perfectly competent survival crafting game if you're into that stuff as well, like it does all the things. But the exploration and adventure are really what make this game special and unique as far as I'm concerned. I think I'm committed to this. I think it's the best survival game I've ever played. But because it's more than just a bog standard survival game. I really do. I've already made 5 videos about the game after all, and at this point I've got a couple hundred hours of entertainment from it and suspect that there will be plenty more hours to come. In fact, I know there's going to be. The game is still a couple of updates away from 1.0, and with every major new patch, there has been enough of a reason for me to want to come back and do a fresh playthrough. This was the case once again just recently with update number 7, Wake of the Water, having released on November the 10th, which if you follow me over on Twitch, you'll likely have seen me streaming this on and off over the past week and a half, 2 weeks here. Now, Keen Games reached out this last week asking to sponsor a video where I tell you about this new content. I've been playing through it anyways. I was happy to do so. They've also got a sale lasting from now until November the 24th. If you want to get the game on a discount, you happen to like what you see here, it would certainly be a good time to buy. Sponsorship or not, once more, I genuinely, thoroughly enjoy this game and wholeheartedly recommend it to anybody who is either a fan of the survival genre in general, but also for people who are looking for this kind of good old classic open world fantasy adventure, because that is truly where I think this game shines. Look at this. See, this is what I'm talking about. Look at this shit. There's just like a dungeon in the tree of this. It's just so cool, dude. This game is so cool. Let me just chill and revive my health here by playing a sweet little tune. The game has multiple instruments, and when you're with friends, you will sync up songs. You'll find songs throughout the world, and then you can just sit down and play your instrument and it'll sync up with whatever they're playing, whichever song they're playing. There's like a lute, a harp, a drum, and this guitar. Yeah, definitely checking this out. I'm telling you, brother, I think you would really, really like it. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the game, Enshrouded, yes, it is a survival game at its core. It's got all of the gathering resources, crafting items, and base building that you would expect, but also it has that added layer of being this open world, exploration-focused adventure game. It again feels like a kind of this classic RPG, going out on an adventure, exploring this world, and being mystified plenty along the way. There's so many times when I play this game where I'm just reminded of that sense of wonder that I had like when first playing Vanilla WoW. This game absolutely delivers on that in a lot of ways. It does such a good job of creating the sense of like place and awe and exploration, like not knowing what you're gonna find around every corner. This game nails that so well. Even as someone with like hundreds of hours in it, I still get, like, I hadn't really played through Blackmire much. And so we were going through Blackmire, this zone, and I'm like, this is so cool, there's so much here. It also really leans heavily into these RPG classes and roles. You've got a variety of different weapons to choose from with melee, ranged, and magic options. Whether you're looking to be a tank, a melee brawler, an assassin, a ranger, a wizard, a healer, a battle mage, and many combos in between. In fact, the skill tree lets you pick and choose which bonuses you want from each of these basic roles, branching out in whatever direction you please. Game looks fun. I'm guessing there are melee classes as well. Yeah, so they basically fill every fantasy archetype that you could imagine. So right now I'm playing a mage that's like a battle mage, healer, wizard playstyle, but you can branch in any different direction. And tank tree, warrior, barb, athlete, survivor, beastmaster, ranger, assassin, trickster, and then wizard, healer, battle mage, which is what I'm kind of spread amongst. You've got your major nodes and then minor nodes. The tiny ones just give stats, but those stats will scale with different things as well. So for example, I've got water aura, which does AoE healing around me to me and my allies within 15 meters, health per 2 points of intelligence. So then I make sure I get intelligence nodes, and then that scales with that. I also do AoE fire damage to fell enemies that scales off my int. And on top of that, the game's got multiple tiers of gear sets that will be playing into these roles while supporting a variety of playstyles within them. And then beyond that, the entire game game is built in a way that really incentivizes exploration and is just a genuine pleasure to explore. The whole space is rather large. This is a big world, especially now with there being several major zones, representing all of the traditional variety of fantasy locations you might expect. You got woodlands, deep forest, swampy bogs, deserts, there's snow-capped mountains, and then the recently added rainforest zone. The other thing that they've done really great with this game is the sense of scale. Like, the game world is just massive, but it doesn't feel bloated, like they just made it big for the sake of making it big. It feels like it actually makes sense that it's this big, and it's something you actually want to explore. Sometimes I play games that just feel like they're just stretched out for the sake of it, but this game, I think it's maybe because of the traversal that it doesn't feel too big. This entire space threaded with the game's namesake, this shroud, a thick, foggy substance that fills in all of the nooks and crannies of any low-lying areas. It's more than just fog here. The Enshrouded regions are also inhabited by a faction of monsters that are both numerous and deadly, along with containing many different unique points of interest. You've got hidden tombs, shroud layers, temple ruins, catacombs, and these sanctums that can only be entered when the sun goes down. And then outside of the shroud, there's also a fair share of places to explore in every zone above the surface. All manner of enemy camps, towns, forts, and strongholds. You've got caves full of aggressive wildlife, along with the enormous hollow halls, which are these labyrinths infested with undead armies, loads of traversal puzzles, and these massive bosses. The game also has a rather robust building system, with the whole thing being constructed out of voxels, which allows for this fairly granular player construction, the result of which has been some rather impressive community structures. Some of the stuff you'll see all over YouTube are really, really cool. People build some pretty impressive stuff. And all of that really just scratches the surface of the content and the various things to do in this game. Once again, it's truly a game that combines both the fundamentals of the survival genre with a world that is fun to explore and really creates this sense of going out on a classic RPG adventure. It's not an MMO, it's a survival game with like heavy MMO/RPG inspiration. A lot about this game feels like what I wish the next big MMOs would do. But if you're a fan of MMOs, and especially if you have some friends you want to play with, this game definitely delivers a similar feel and experience. It's just really good. I don't know what else to say. Even though it has the layer of survival game, it feels much more like a fantasy, open world, exploration adventure. That's really what it feels like. It feels like going on a proper like RPG romp through a big, massive fantasy world. This game delivers that in spades. There's just a whole lot more here, but I cover a lot of this in fairly exhaustive detail in my prior vids that I've made on the game, so if you're interested, you can certainly go give those a look. For the rest of this video, though, I want to focus specifically on this update and some of the cool new stuff that was added here. All right, so first up, we've got the whole new biome of the Vale Water Basin. This is a completely new region, the largest one to be added yet, and with it comes more content and places to explore for high-level characters. This is located between the Albaneve Summits, which is the game's snowy region, and the swamps of Blackmire, and it's a new dense tropical forest region full of large lakes and rivers, all dotted with ancient ruins and plenty of secrets to uncover. Now, you will note the mention of lakes and rivers here, and that is because, yes, the game now has water. All right, so here's the new zone with the water update. It's got this like tribal vibe to it, kind of lush, almost rainforesty environment, and a big focus on water. This is the water update after all. So they have added to a lot of low-lying areas pools of water now. So we can go down here. I'll show you this. Now these are predominantly in the new zone. There are splashes of water locations in the previous zones, but those are still mostly, any low-lying areas similar to this are still mostly fog, shroud-based locations and not water locations. But in this new zone, a lot of maybe what would have otherwise been shroud is now just straight up water. Well, now both of those are in the game. You're going to have some areas that are lakes and rivers, other areas that could have been lakes and rivers, but are filled with shroud enemies, and shroud points of interest. There's also a new faction of enemies introduced here, lurking in the new zone. They are called the Drak. Essentially, these are lizard people with a few variations of melee, ranged, and bosses, and from what I've seen in my playthrough, rather difficult new enemies. Oh my god, they swim fast. No! Of course they do. They're lizard people. Oh my god, dude, what? It's like bipedal alligators? Oh no. Oh my god. This is the first time I've came across these guys. This is not Good. Brother. Get me out of here. Just like every other zone, Veilwater Basin brings with it numerous new resources, which lets you craft a host of new items, recipes, building blocks, armors, plant seedlings, decorative props, and plenty more. And then also there is, of course, a continuation of the main story quest, plenty of side quests, new rewards, farm animals to find, NPC survivors to rescue, and skill points to unlock, which of course lets you further empower your characters. Now, with the introduction of the water, this isn't just like new bodies that you can slowly swim through as you're escaping enemies, which, yes, you can do that, of course. In addition to that, though, beneath the surface, you're going to find unique treasures to discover, along with new specific resources that can be dug up. Water can now also be used as part of your base building, so you can kind of make a stream in your home and all sorts of fun stuff. Beyond being present in the new zone, of course, all of the biomes in Ember Vale have had water added to them in some form naturally in the environment, various ponds, lakes, and rivers. While the first few zones are only going to have smaller bodies of water, the later areas, and especially the new one, has a lot more and much larger. Also, we should mention that while swimming, you have got an oxygen timer. This defaults to around 30 seconds, but to help aid in potential exploration, there are various new forms of equipment and food where you can extend your stay. New zone, new enemies, new levels, also comes with a next tier of progression, so the new maximum level for characters is now 45. There are new and more powerful versions of all weapon types now dropping from enemies and chests, and the unique lore weapons in the game can now also be crafted freely at every tier once you first unlock them. There's also a new tier of armor to be crafted with unique visuals for the new biome. I got myself a sick new armor set from the new zone. Some interesting stats on it too. You can see... So I've got the magic caster set, so magic critical strike chance, critical strike damage. Then there's some health and mana stats, but it also has the wet debuff duration reduction, and that's because the new zone has a lot of water in it, and this is to help offset that debuff, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, see, I've got this kind of cool like tribal looking stuff. The stats on these things are ridiculous though. 18% more staff damage, damage against magical enemies stacked up, and a lot of health and mana. Like this chest piece with 180 health and all that mana is really nice. New skills have been added to the skill tree, further fleshing that out, as well as some additional spells available for mages. Basically gone for like, it's the magic caster build, but then I'm starting to work into some tanky action, beef myself up. That's essentially the game plan here. They've added a brand new weapon type to the game in the form of these great swords. Along with this also comes new skills in the tree, new item perks, and supportive armor pieces that play into the great sword play style. Now, beyond the new content additions, there's been a variety of updates that help kind of change up the gameplay experience. I want to cover some of the big ones here. So for starters, there's been some big balance updates. Weapons, shields, armors, rings, and food buffs have received a rather large overhaul. Every weapon, ring, shield, and armor has been checked for any inconsistent stats, incorrect perks, and other issues. Weapons have also been reevaluated in terms of stats and perks to better match their appearance and fantasy. Durability hasn't been increased for all weapons, although honestly, my suggestion, just turn weapon durability off. I do it ever since they introduced custom games. I do that right away. Makes the experience a little less tedious as far as I'm concerned. Is that disabled durability I see? First thing I shut off as soon as custom servers came up, 100%. Get rid of that. I don't need durability on my weapons. I hate it. Actually hate it. Yes, that you are correct. No durability. I'd rather be out adventuring than back at town repairing my stuff. Oh, I'm almost dead. Health, mana, and stamina regeneration also got rebalanced, so the overall regeneration rate is lower. However, more items now give access to regeneration boosts, allowing you to make it even higher than it was previously. One big change that I had briefly mentioned earlier is that any lore weapons, these unique weapons tied into the game's story, can now be crafted at each tier once you first unlock them. Also, additional lore weapons have been added to the game. With rebalanced stats, lore weapons now are going to act as a great option for players to fill in any gaps in your weapon setup while you're looking for more powerful loot as you move through the game's various tiers of difficulty. Also, more enemy weapons are now dropping from enemies in all tiers. These can drop at any quality level all the way up to legendary. So essentially how this works is if you see enemy types that use certain weapons, there's a good chance they will drop that weapon type when you kill them. They're not always going to do it, but if you're farming shroud enemies with the big cleavers that leap at you, they pretty regularly drop those cleavers. tiers. And again, you can get those all the way up to legendary drops, which is really nice. They did a rework to how treasure chests work as well. So the drop chances in all treasure chests got reworked to significantly increase the chances for getting epic and legendary weapons in silver chests, and especially in any gold chests that you find. Also, silver and gold chests will now drop one additional item on top of the already dropped in previous versions of the game. Did I see a yellow chest in here? I did, literally, right at the top. Let's see what's inside, huh? Ancient Drac Wand. Damn, that is literally already going to be an upgrade for me. It's a shock wand at level 43. That's like, I'm taking that immediately. And with this, they made it so that treasure chests now save their state for a fixed amount of in-game time instead of automatically refreshing themselves when you close and reopen the server. This was partially to stop kind of exploits where people would loot a chest, log out, log back in, loot the chest again, and just do this as much as they want to collect and farm whatever that chest happened to drop. Now the chest will respawn, but it's after a set amount of in-game time instead of being, I guess, easily exploitable through logging out and logging back in. And there are a few things that they're keeping an eye on and still plan to work on in the future that they let us know about in these notes here. They are continuing to work on improving the game's performance, especially around any water simulation and traveling through the new biome. That is a top priority. Also, after the significant update of both the balancing of stats and gear and the increased drop chances for higher quality weapons, they're going to be monitoring the game feel and observing how this changes the flow of progression for players. They're specifically focused on balancing the Fell Dragon Youngling. This is a continuous topic as it turns out to be a very hard point of progression and kind of potentially progression stopping for a lot of players, so they're keeping an eye on balancing this. They want it to be a challenge, but they don't want it to be too out of hand that a lot of players aren't able to get past it. And also they talk about that the shader compilation times are a major pain point for many, and they're continuing to work on that. But that's basically the big overview of the latest update. As I talked about at the top, I think this game is great. I've had a blast with it over the past, what is it, going on 2 years now since this first entered early access, and it just keeps getting improved and better with every update. Genuinely, I really, really like this game. Dude, this game is so flippin' cool. It's so awesome, dude. Look at this. I found this little cave entrance. It's into like a sewer. Got these rats in this muck. And then I walk here and there's like a hidden entry through this. This game just is like, it's so freaking good, dude. Honestly. If you haven't played Enshrouded and you're still waiting for 1.0, I understand. I'll tell you already, you're in for an absolute treat. This game is just phenomenal. It's such a good, like, fantasy adventure. I just adore it, honestly. I really do. It's really something. I know this is a sponsored video, but the sponsorship aside, I'm telling you, this is easily one of my favorite survival games. I think it is one of the best out there. And it's largely because, yes, it has the core fundamentals of the survival genre, but that whole exploration, adventure, the sense of discovery, this handcrafted world that they've built, it all comes together in a really nice package. I genuinely love this game. So as mentioned, the latest update came out not too long ago on the November the 10th. They do have a sale on the game running right now if you're interested, lasting from now until November the 24th, so a couple of days here. It's an easy recommendation for me, truly and genuinely. And with that, that pretty much does it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed our video, checking out the latest update for Enshrouded. I'm continuing to really enjoy this game, coming up on near 200 hours. Pretty solid experience, I'd say. That's all for now. Thanks for watching as always. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you later. Take it easy.